Welcome to Ancient Faith Presents. I'm Bobby Maddex, Operations Manager of Ancient Faith Radio. And today I will be speaking with the staff and students of the Lived Theology School in Toronto, Ontario. I'd like to start by speaking with Father Roberto Ubertino, the founder and executive director of both St. John the Compassionate Mission and the Lived Theology School, and Deacon Pawel Mucha, the intern director at the school. Father Roberto, Deacon Pawel, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Why don't you start by first explaining the distinction between three different things, actually: the St. Silouan the Athonite Mission Parish, St. John the Compassionate Mission, and then the Lived Theology School, as well as how these entities work together.
Well, to begin with, St. John the Compassionate Mission started the whole birthing of the mission parish and the Lived Theology School. The mission, St. John the Compassionate Mission, started over 26 years ago. And it is an outreach to the poor in Toronto. We're not really an agency, as much a place where community can take place, where the poor find a place where they can offer their gifts and become needed, and where, as St. John the Compassionate himself, St. John the Merciful, as sometimes is known, taught us, is that they are our teachers and our masters. So perhaps that was the first Lived Theology School, in that sense, where the poor come to teach us what it means to live the gospel. Out of St. John the Compassionate Mission grew St. Silouan the Athonite Mission Parish, which is a canonical Orthodox mission parish of the Carpatho-Russian Diocese. And out of that, those two entities grew the Lived Theology School, which is housed in a separate building and which has a specific program that follows both the life of St. John the Compassionate Mission in terms of its Diakonia, in terms of its different programs and services, and the liturgical life of the parish, while following also a particular program which its focus is to educate and to expose youth and anyone actually who's interested in learning how to integrate the life of the church, the liturgical life of the church, the theology of the church, and also work and service in a contemporary modern context. So those three entities are, in fact, part of the same family, but in this family there are different rooms. And while we have a good balance between the parish and the mission, there are people who come only to the mission, and some people only come for the parish, but everybody knows everybody. And there is this sense that we are one family together.
Well, you are here today to talk in particular about the Lived Theology School, so I want to know a little bit more about that. Whose idea was the school, and how does it operate on a daily basis?
This is Deacon Pawel. I'm the prefect of LTS. The initiative, of course, was Father Roberto's. The idea of setting up some kind of intern program that would allow people to actually come here and experience what life in an Orthodox mission is like, not with the idea of getting cheap slave labor for the mission, but giving people an opportunity to learn really from the very unique form of Orthodox life here, with the idea that they would take it back to their own communities in time. As Father Roberto has just said, LTS, the Lived Theology School, is very much integrated into the life here, and it's based on four pillars, if you like: community, liturgy, study, and diakonia or service. And I think that's really the uniqueness of the LTS program, in that it combines all four of these. You might find each of them separately in various places, but I think this is the only place where you're going to find them in North America actually integrated together.
Now, I don't know about other countries, but here in America, we have a definite picture of what Toronto is like. And mostly that is kind of the new go-to place for Hollywood films to be made. It's a city that looks like so many other cities, is progressive and modern. What are the actual needs, though, in the city of Toronto? What was it about Toronto that prompted the need for not only the Lived Theology School, but the mission and the parish as well?
Well, the wealth of North America is based on the exploitation of a lot of other people. And there is an underground, an underbelly in our society of people who more and more cannot fit in. People who either because of immigration or because of mental illness or because of trauma will never be able to fit in the society that is more and more taking shape. And so what we have discovered or find out that, in the last 26 years, there are more and more people that just don't fit in. And so someone like Mother Teresa, who lived in the streets of Calcutta, could quite correctly assess us here in North America as being much more poor than the people that she met on the streets in Calcutta. And that poverty really is, as she described it, is loneliness. It's a sense of alienation, the sense of that we are utterly alone and that we have no meaning and no place. And so the work of the mission is to, in a sense, is more than just giving out food or, to give out sandwiches. You have to create, again, places where people can be human. And part of being human is to be in community, being in relationships. We don't ask people who come to the mission, what do you need? What we ask them is, what do you have to give? That is the real poverty of our society, is that we have more and more a number of people for whom we pretend that we don't need them. And that the mission, with these people who are useless, we're actually able to create a sense of community. And it enriches the neighborhood and enriches the area around us in many, many ways.
Well, Father, I understand that you have some other people joining you today in your office there, all surrounding the speakerphone presently. Why don't your guests tell me who they are, one at a time, and then where they are from?
Hi, my name is Kentan Harry. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm one of the current Lived Theology School students.
Hello, my name is Michael Lusick. I'm originally from Saskatchewan, Canada, and I'm one of the former students, also involved with the mission now.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Peck. I'm from Wilmington, Delaware, and I am the other current Lived Theology School student.
All right. Now, to avoid having you guys talk over each other, I am going to ask that one of you answer each of these questions. So why don't we start with the first one, which is, how did you hear about the Lived Theology School? Perhaps the person who has the most typical story can tell their version.
All right, well, this is Ken speaking. I had originally heard about the mission through some friends of mine who had come up here through OCF, the Orthodox Christian Fellowship, on a real break trip, and they really enjoyed their experience. And my parish priest had visited as well. So I kind of knew the name of the mission, and I saw an advertisement actually on Ancient Faith Radio for the Lived Theology School. And the idea really struck me, and it seemed like a unique and valuable experience. So I sort of jumped on it.
And then what would cause one to actually want to come to the Lived Theology School? What are you hoping to get out of it?
Well, this is Jacqueline speaking. What we decided to come to the Lived Theology School was, I had visited a couple years ago, just for a couple weeks, and it was a short visit, but it was enough time to sort of get this feeling of community that was present, and it was really neat just to witness how the church sort of meets the street in a common area environment where you can connect with people that you don't normally have a chance to. So I guess I chose to come and have this experience with the LTS because I wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn more about how one can do Orthodox mission in the liturgical context of the church, and just to sort of gain more skills and hope to get a better understanding of how one really does this, just to learn about it.
Why don't one of you tell me about your experiences, what it's like at the Lived Theology School on a daily basis? What do you do? What have you learned? That sort of thing.
Michael here. Well, first of all, I'd say that the experience is very overwhelming. I mean, there's an academic component of it, and that's definitely very helpful and can be challenging in itself. But I think the biggest part is life itself is very challenging. You're with people that are in their darkest moments of their life, and everything's kind of going crashing down around you. And so you come to yourself, to this person, with all of your preconceived theology and notions, and they kind of come crashing down in front of that person. It's one thing to believe in resurrection. It's another thing to believe it in front of a person that's a drug addict or mentally disabled, and their life seems utterly hopeless. It seems dark. It seems on fire, actually. And so it can be very emotionally exhausting. So what really saves you is actually there's prayer and community here. There's a great group of people that you can get to know of, the people that do mission, the people that are part of the mission and coming and using the mission themselves are sometimes your best help. Your average day consists of being around the mission and meeting with people and helping them. And in the meantime of all of that, you're actually running programs. We actually feed around 2,000 meals a week, and so you're either doing breakfast or lunches or suppers. And in between those times, you're helping people cook the food, because people that come to use the mission are actually the people that are doing the chores and helping prepare all the meals. And so you're working with these people and meeting with them and helping them. And then there's a number of prayer times that we have. We have pretty much daily prayer here. We follow roughly the hours. And then at night you kind of stumble to bed exhausted and and meet with some community together and then go on to the next day. That's kind of your typical week, with a few days reserved here or there for study.
Well, Father Roberto, I have another question for your students here in a second. But first, I'm wondering, how many students do you typically have? Is it always 2 at a time? And how long do they stay? And how do you make your selection with regard to who you invite to come and help you?
I think this best question is answered by the prefect.
Well, in terms of full-time interns, now full-time for us is someone who commits themselves to be here for a whole year. And we consider that really important because the work here is to a certain extent seasonal, different pattern according to the weather and so on. So far, each year that we've had whole year interns, it has only been 2, but our kind of ideal number would be around 5 or 6. We also have opportunities for people to do short-term internships. These can vary from a few days to a couple of months or whatever. So we're fairly flexible about what we can provide for people. Our main aim is that whoever comes and however long they come, that they have this experience of the 4 pillars. In terms of screening, well, people have to have a certain physical stamina because the work here is pretty demanding, and as Michael indicated, sometimes the days can be very, very long. But basically, you're looking for a willingness to learn. I think that's the main thing you're looking for.
Well, it sounds like at times it's not only an exhausting experience, but also a spiritually draining experience. And so I'm wondering whether one of you students would recommend that others should attend the Lived Theology School. And if you do recommend that they come, why?
This is Jacqueline speaking again. I would definitely say that I would recommend it. I mean, this is not an experience, certainly not an experience for everyone. As Deacon Pawel was saying, it can be an intense experience. You can have experience long days and come up with a lot of challenges. But overall, it's definitely a very worthwhile experience. It's a chance to be grounded in an understanding of Orthodox mission. You learn that it's not something that you can experience and walk away with, just, come here for a weekend and then figure out everything about Orthodox mission and how to conduct it. You realize that it's sort of a process. It's a way of life more than just some sort of activity you can kind of participate in briefly. So it's just a chance. It's a very unique experience. You don't really see this sort of community in this sort of environment where you can learn and grow with all sorts of people from different walks of life in the context of the church. So I would say it's well worth participating in. It's a unique experience you really can't find in many places in North America.
And Deacon Pawel, what's the ideal age for attending the Lived Theology School? Is this something that students typically do after college, before college? Is it something that people do well into their adulthood?
Well, it can vary. I mean, You need to be at least 18 because you need to be counted as an adult. There's no reason why an 80-year-old can't do it as well if they're willing. We have no kind of restrictions in that sense. Some people come before or in a gap year whilst they're studying, and some come after. It varies. There's no set rule. We've also had, for example, an intern who was on a break from work, and she's the normal mother of a normal family with 2 kids, so it varies. There is no set rule for it.
And then, Father Roberto, what are some of the needs that you have there in Toronto, needs that our listeners can help with? Of course, I'm sure you would ask for their prayers, but is there anything they can do financially or otherwise to help out each of these 3 organizations?
Well, the mission obviously always needs support, but the whole purpose of the Lived Theology School was not to ask for support from the church, but is actually starts from a desire to offer something to the church. The word that we want to get out is that we have something to give to the church. We have something to teach the church. We have something to offer to the church. It's a unique opportunity. It's the poor who are offering it to us. And we would like to share it with the church. So the main thing is, if you can, spread the word that there is something here offered to the church, especially also to the youth of our church that need to see something different lived. And we have something to give. We feel that, maybe, we're not here to perpetuate ourselves forever. We are here to respond to the gospel at this time in history. And what we have learned, what we experience here, we like to share it with others, and then others can take it and do something perhaps totally different. It's in that spirit that really we would like to speak to you today about the Lived Theology School as something that we offer to you.
Well, where can listeners go to get more information, both about the school and the mission?
In terms of finding out information about the mission and the Lived Theology School, the most obvious place is the internet. The mission website is stjohnsmission.org, and the Lived Theology School is just Lived Theology School, all one word, .org. So there's quite a lot of information there. You can also find the email addresses to contact us as well. I was saying that I would like to perhaps slightly alter the impression that it's all kind of nothing but hard work and doom and gloom up here. We know how to party up here as well. We know how to have a good time, and if you look at the website, you will see lots of smiling faces. Even in Lent, we managed to have a little birthday party for Jacqueline this morning.
Very good. Well, if you not only want to help the poor and to take part in some serious physical and spiritual discipline and work, but also want to have a great time, then you're going to want to check out the Lived Theology School. Would one of you like to say anything else before I let you all go today?
There's a couple of things. Maybe also Michael would like to say something. This is a great opportunity for people, for an example, who are thinking about seminary as a pre-seminary experience, because learning how to live in community, being really hands-on in terms of the liturgy, and the experience of working with people here will be useful in any parish context. Also, for people who are lay people who are interested in ministry in the church, here is an opportunity for people to, and also open to men and women, to find concrete ways in which that ministry can be exercised. That's, again, another opportunity to actually experience it, not just to talk about it or dream about it, but actually just to do it. So it's a resource that can also help people who are thinking of going of a monastic vocation. Again, living in community, following the liturgical life here and the intensity which any committed life involves, could be a test for them to see whether they actually would like to pursue a monastic or to be married. Again, it allows for a youth to experience
community, liturgy, in a context of a lived reality.
I guess just in conclusion, I'd like to thank you for letting us be on this program and talk about it, because I feel that sometimes we can be forgotten about up in this small corner of Canada. So thank you for that opportunity, and I do recommend this as well. I think that this is a great place to unconditionally serve Christ and to grow your faith and to experience the joy of Him here. And so I would recommend this to anybody that's considering this.
All right, well, I do appreciate you all taking time out of your very busy schedule to talk to me today. Thanks so much.
Well,
Thank
you for taking the time.
Once again, I have been speaking with staff and students of the Lived Theology School in Toronto, Ontario. I'm Bobby Maddex, and this has been a listener-supported presentation of Ancient Faith Radio on the web at ancientfaith.com.